In this video, I want to talk about the way I go about my own manifestations. Being a manifestation coach and being on YouTube, I am often asked how I myself deal with this thing or that thing in manifestation. So I want to share it with you. Also because the way I manifest is the way I coach. And everything you hear me say in my videos on my channel is based on my own experience. So what you hear even on the videos, even if you are not getting coaching with me, is based on how I manifest. So I'm very consistent with what I do myself and what I share with you. And in this video, I want to sort of put it all together in a video and give you an idea. If you need a more personalized help with your manifestations, you can book a coaching session with me from the link in the description box below, or you can join my Master Manifestors coaching program, which will start from January. If you need any information about it or you want to join, please send me an email through my booking page and we can talk about it. So for those of you who are newer on my channel, I am a manifestation coach and I have at least 15 years of experience with manifestation. I discovered this in 2010, and the way it started was that I was finding a lot of contradicting information and a lot of things that weren't working. So I have a lot of experience with stuff that doesn't work until I found out what works and how this wonderful thing that is manifestation works, which is basically life. But so that is what helped me gain experience in a way that I now know what works and what simply not to even think about doing. Manifestation, of course, starts with a desire. You have the desire because you somehow notice or feel the lack of it. And the desire starts from lack. And what manifestation is basically is that we do manifestation techniques in order to create the state of the wish fulfilled. This is Neville Goddard's word, which is you feeling like you have it. Even though, by the way, this is not a mystical thing. It's an inner knowing that you get to, that you have the thing while you are very much aware that it's not there yet in the 3D, but the difference is that it doesn't bother you. So everything we do and everything I myself do as a manifestation process is in order to get to that state, then your job is done. Then it just needs to happen in the 3D. So where it starts is with the desire. And I have found out for myself that every one of my manifestations are different. Not only every single one person is different and their manifestations are different, the way they do things are different. But for myself, who is just one person, every manifestation has been different. And the reason I'm saying this is because people often have questions about time, like how much time does it take? I have manifested things with the same person that took like different amount of times. I was talking about this with a client the other day. I manifested contact with a person. One time it took me 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes or less, for the person to contact me. The next time that I manifested contact with the same person, it took me a couple of months. The reason is that we have different assumptions for different situations. We relate to situations differently. So therefore, when I start a manifestation, my first focus is, what do I want? So that is what I start telling myself that I have. Basically affirmations. I do affirmations probably with all my manifestations because affirmations are very practical to do during the day. When you go about your day, you catch yourself with negative thoughts. Affirmations are quick and practical, but I do use all the other parts of imagination also, so visualization, inner conversations, etc. It depends on each manifestation what technique I choose. And there's no rule to this. There's no reason for you to do affirmations instead of visualizations other than that you enjoy it. So manifestation needs to be easy, and this is something that I have learned based on experience, because if it's complicated, if I don't understand why I'm doing it, if it's too much work, I'm not going to do it. And so I, as a manifestation coach, assume assumptions manifest, but I assume that you as a client or a conscious manifester probably also aren't going to do it if it's too complicated, too much work. And simplifying works. So you don't have to do things complicated for it to work. You simplify it to a statement where you have it, or a short story that you have it, and just tell it to yourself with words, so thoughts / affirmations, or any kind of imaginal acts. Now, this brings me to limiting beliefs. There are manifestations, there are desires where I start out manifesting a new desire, a completely new thing, and I know that I have a certain limiting belief around this, or several limiting beliefs. So if I know my limiting beliefs right away, I'm just tackling them, affirming the opposite or imagining the opposite until they're gone. Otherwise, I want to reassure you that limiting beliefs and the subconscious in general, limiting beliefs are in the subconscious. The subconscious is what is being programmed with our beliefs, etc. It's nothing mystical either. Our experience, a physical experience, is a mirror of our beliefs. So if your physical experience with that situation that you're manifesting is not something that you like, that's your limiting belief. Our limiting beliefs are often in our faces, even though sometimes we don't admit to ourselves that we have that limiting belief, we don't want to work with it, etc. It's not working to ignore a problem. This is another thing that I've learned through experience. Because guilty, I have done this, to ignore a limiting belief that I knew I had, but I just didn't want to have it. So I just didn't admit it to myself that I had the limiting belief. But until, if it's there and you sort of know it's there, it's going to stay there and keep manifesting. You need to be honest with yourself when you are manifesting, brutally honest, so that you can just tackle the problems and get rid of it. And the main reason I'm saying this is, especially if you get coaching, you invest your money and time and effort in coaching. Make sure that you don't go to your coach and pretend that you don't have problems, you don't have limiting beliefs. And so I think people do this because they are afraid to be judged. You don't get any judgment from me. I have clients sometimes who come and start out with, oh, you maybe think that my desire is weird, etc. Nothing is weird. Your desire is your desire. We work with it and to get rid of your limiting beliefs and replace them, etc. So don't worry. Nobody is going to judge you. If anybody is, you don't continue. So, and again, I have had clients with whom I have worked session after session after session where they tell me a story and I can sense the limiting belief. I can see. I have worked with so many and I have manifested myself so for such a long time that I see the patterns. This is my job as a manifestation coach. I have to see the problem. And when I ask the client, like, have you had an experience like this before, or do you believe that this is the case, etc.? And I get, oh no, never had a problem like this, and it never happened. And then session after session, I keep asking and keep digging, and then at some point they go, you know what, Anna, yes, I have had this kind of experience before, and I sort of do believe this, etc. That is where we can like unfold it, and the getting rid of the limiting belief process starts. So this is again something I have learned on my own skin, that I have to be both patient but also honest with myself. Even if I think I might have this limiting belief, it doesn't cost me anything. I just affirm the opposite, and that's it. So I find it very important to not ignore the problems. And another thing that I have learned that I must do, not with all manifestations, because not all manifestations require this, but many do, is stay consistent. And sometimes it looks on the outside that it's not working, nothing is happening, etc. I make sure to go back in imagination and stay there instead of focusing on the outside, because it makes you feel powerless when your focus is on the 3D, because your 3D is showing you old assumptions, current assumptions. And when you go in your imagination, you start feeling like the creator, like you're in charge, and you feel powerful. So this is why I keep saying in my videos, just do the work. Do the work. Start. Sometimes even when you're not sure what to do, like pick something that you are sort of sure about and just start, because the path will unfold. The path of what you need to do even. And this is more or less the process, and persistence is super important, especially for manifestations where you already have a story. I have had manifestations where I didn't exactly have a story about, something happened and I affirmed a couple of times and then it manifested. And this has happened several times. And then I have had other manifestations that have taken months. This is a question, by the way, that I receive a lot. Have you ever had a manifestation that has taken a long time? Yes, I have. And I have learned a lot from those manifestations, because it has either been because I have ignored the problem, ignored my limiting beliefs, or I haven't done the work, or I have been too focused on the 3D. Why is this happening? Or why is nothing happening? And the results have come, every single one of those times, the results have come after I stopped doing that, went back into imagination, and just persisted in that. Persistence is not something you do forced. It's almost something like that you do more relaxed than forced. But it's the persistence of the end goal. Imagination creates reality, whether we like it or not, whether we believe in it or not. And you know this because of experience. So that's more or less my way to go about manifestation. What's my desire? What's my limiting beliefs? If I don't know my limiting beliefs, I just simply start manifesting it however I choose to manifest, affirmations, imaginal acts, conversations, or whatever I choose to do. Because in that way, either my limiting beliefs are going to come up to the surface, however, like things that happen in the 3D, something that I remember, a thought that comes to mind that makes me aware that, hey, this is a problem. Or it's just going to get resolved and get out of the way so that I can have my manifestations. And the way I choose my techniques is very different. So don't get too fixated on what technique to choose. Pick the one you like the best. Pick the one you enjoy doing. and stick with it. And one of the most important things is persistence, consistency, not doing back and forth, which sometimes happens. We do have human reactions. I myself have reactions. But the thing that I want to end this video with is to reassure you that life in general and manifestation becomes easier as you gain experience. The more things you manifest, the easier the next manifestation is going to be. This is for those of you who have experience with conscious manifestation. Please let me know in the comments if this is also your experience. This is literally my own experience since I started, and I noticed that it's because every time I'm starting a new manifestation, I have less limiting beliefs to deal with because I already got rid of one or two the last time, several the other time, etc. So the process of manifestation is basically replacing one belief with another. And every time you manifest a desire, you have replaced a limiting belief with or several limiting beliefs with a beautiful, wonderful belief assumption that you actually want to manifest. So every time you manifest something new, you start on a higher level, this is probably why, now that I'm thinking, this is probably why Neville Goddard calls it ascending to the next level. He calls this the act of manifesting your desire, ascending to a different state. And that has been my experience, that you ascend to a level of consciousness that you didn't have before. And this simply makes manifestation, the whole process, easier. You react less, you are less worried, you are less stressed, you know how it works. And that's more or less it. And then I fit the work to the manifestation. This is also the way I work with the client, based on their personality. This is something that I take into account because, when I'm talking to a person, you get the idea of what kind of a person they are. So you can't have everyone do the same thing. The law works the same way for every person and every manifestation, but the way you go about it, like, for example, the basic process of choosing a manifestation technique. Some people love affirming, other people love visualizing. So you have to incorporate what you do. Some people are very, very structured. Other people hate structure. So, and this is the way that I am going to work with clients in my Master Manifestors coaching program. Of course, what you do needs to fit both your personality, your daily life. Manifestation doesn't have to stop your life. By the way, one thing that I have probably never done or have done rarely that I can't even remember now is taking too much time off my day to manifest. I usually make my manifestations melt into my daily routines so that I don't stop my current life in order to manifest a desire. It all sort of happens simultaneously. And this is also something that you learn how to do with experience, with, being present with yourself, being present with your thoughts, your mental processes. Manifestation is also a way of getting to know yourself, what is going on in your mind, what works for you, what doesn't work. So my advice for you is never force something on yourself that feels off. Never force something on yourself that feels too much. And find a way to manifest that feels pleasant, that feels natural. And I understand that you can have negative emotions about things. You can have fears and anxiety about your desire. There is a solution. This is why I always say you have to find the thing that works for you. That is why you can. One way is you can work with a coach. Another way is you just simply try things and see what works for you, because something is going to work. I promise you, something is going to work. If you're doing something right now that makes things worse or simply doesn't work, there's something for you. There's something else that will work for you. If you're dealing with heavy negative emotions and your usual manifestation work makes it worse, please check out my Release Negative Emotions course, because that is a course where I work with negative emotions in a very different way than the usual manifestation techniques. And otherwise, I would love to have you on board on my Master Manifestors coaching program. I still have some free spots on 2 Sunday groups. So please send me an email if you want to join. Otherwise, you are welcome to book a coaching session, one-on-one coaching session with me if you need a more personalized help. And have a beautiful day, and see you in the next video.